Hi everybody, welcome to Stitch of the Week from Sunflower Cottage Crochet. Today our stitch is going to be the bean stitch. Now if you can see, I'll just zoom in there for you. There we go, there's the bean stitch. It's a beautiful texture and it works really well on this project. It looks really pretty on hats as an embellishment around the top of bags maybe. It's just a really cute stitch and it's really simple to do. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making this coffee cup cozy. Now, you know, being almost November, it is the perfect season for them and I can attest to how well they do work. Recently, I don't know whether you've seen the back loop only, front loop only video that I've done. I went to the cinema with my daughter and some friends, grabbed a Costa, which is, I suppose, the closest thing we've got to Starbucks here in the UK, and the cup scrumpled on my hand. The cup of tea was really hot, the lid popped off, I'm guessing with the temperature and the pressure, and the cup just crumpled in my hand and I ended up in the accident book with a couple of burns, but never mind. The next time I went to the cinema I actually used one of these cup cozies, and it worked really well. It helped me hold the cup because the heat didn't get through, but also I found that it helped the cup keep its shape for some particular reason. It just gave it that little bit more steadiness to it, so it didn't crumple or move in my hands, which was really good. So anyway, so we're going to be making some coffee cup cozies today. We will have another one coming soon, which I just happen to have here with a cross stitch section in it. But for today we're going to work on the bean stitch. Now what you'll need in order to make this is a 5mm hook. I've got my Susan Bates here, and some 100% cotton for it. We do recommend 100% cotton, but actually for today I am cheating because my niece has especially asked for this one. It is Beanie Denim Look by Stylecraft. It's actually, as you can see, 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. It does still work. It doesn't quite have the structure to it that 100% cotton does in keeping its shape, in that it's got a little bit more give in it, which is fine. If you like a bigger cup, it'll fit anything. It's all good. So this is what I'm using today for the purposes of the video. So diving straight in, I'll find the end of my yarn. We need to be making a chain 6. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see we've got 6 chains there, and then in the second chain from the hook, so we don't count the one on the hook, 1, 2, we need to do a single crochet. So insert your hook, wrap your yarn and pull it through, so you've got 2 loops, and then wrap your yarn and pull it through both loops. So we need to do that in each chain across, so we end up with 5 single crochets. Okay, so when we get to the end of that row, we need to chain 1 and turn our work. Now this is going to create the ribbon effect that you see here at the bottom. So what we need to be doing now is single crochet along, but we're doing it in the back loop only. As you can see here, each stitch is made up of a V, which has a front loop and a back loop. Now it doesn't matter which way you're working, you will always use the back loop as you're looking at it for this ribbon effect. So you just insert your hook and do your single crochet from the back loop only. The stitch itself is exactly the same, it's just where you place your hook that's different. So just into the back loop and away we go. So we'll do that all the way along to the end. Making sure you get that last stitch, so you need to have 5 stitches still. And then we'll chain 1, we'll turn our work, and as we're looking at it, we need to crochet into the back loop only and do our single crochets. So that'll be 5 more single crochets, back loop only, all the way along. Oops, didn't quite catch all of that cotton there. There we go, that's better. And then we'll get to the end, we'll do the last stitch and we'll chain 1, turn, single crochet, back loop only, all the way along. And we do that for 28 rows. As you can see, we're starting to get the texture there. So we need 28 rows doing exactly the same thing, backwards and forwards, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so there's our 28 rows done. Now what we need to do is join the ends together. So you literally bring the ends together. Now it's up to you whether you decide to go through both loops on the row that you've just finished and through the chain, or if you're like me and prefer to go through, because of the ribbon effect, go through the back loop only in the chain. But we need to be slip stitching all the way down this row, so there's 5 slip stitches to join the front and the back together, so we end up with a circular base. 3, 4, just move that one out of the way. And 5. So because I've done it that way, you can see you end up with a little bit more of a bulge on this side, but as if by magic, when you turn it around, it's kept the ribbon effect going on the other underside when I've slip stitched it with a back loop only on the row that I was just working on. So what I'm going to do is, this is now going to be the outside of my work because I quite like that one best, and because I've switched it inside out, I just need to pull my ball of yarn through it, otherwise I'll be working with the yarn coming through the wrong way. Bear with me a second, I'm just getting all my bits together. So now what we need to be doing is we need to single crochet 28 stitches all the way around the top of this. The idea being that the cup cozy is actually the bottom of a beanie hat, so it gives it a lot of give and makes it really cute. So we need to be doing our base. So we need to chain 1, doesn't count as a stitch, and then we need to chain 28 all the way across. So you can see where we've got the raises and the dips, we need to be putting 1 single crochet in each raise and each dip. So that doesn't count, so there's a single crochet, 2, all the way around, but only 28. And I'll meet you at the end. And now we've got to the end of that row. What we need to do is do a row of half double crochets now. So we're going to chain 1 again, and we're going to put, which doesn't count as a stitch by the way, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet in each of the 28 single crochets that we've got there. So you wrap your yarn around your hook, so you have 2 loops on your hook, insert it into the stitch, wrap your yarn, pull it through, so you have 3 hoops, wrap your yarn and pull it through all 3 hoops, and there's your half double. So we're going to do that all the way along, and I'll meet you at the end. So there we are at the end, and we're just going to slip stitch to the top of that first one. So as you can see, it's starting to come together, and it's coming together quite quickly. So the next section we're going to do is this ribbed section, and now it's got a really nice knit look to it, and we're going to do that. It's also known as the camel stitch, but basically we're working into the 3rd loop. So if you can see here, sorry, I'm just trying to get it, we've got the V on the very top, so that's your front loop and your back loop, as we've already discussed, but right on the back there is a 3rd loop. So we're going to be working into this 3rd loop. Now it might take you a little bit of getting used to find it, but once you do, it'll automatically push, as you can see there, your front loop and your back loop forward, which will then make it easier to get into your subsequent 3rd loops. So just spend a moment, if you're not familiar with the camel stitch, identify your front loop and your back loop, turn your work, and there's your 3rd loop. So that's the one we're working into. So basically we're going to chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet into the 3rd loop only. Now this first one can be a little bit tricky. There it is. So pull it through, and you just work your half double crochet as you have been. So now you can see that's pulled my front loop and my back loop forwards. So now we can see that 3rd loop really nicely. So we just work into that and work our half double crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around. So 28 half double crochets in 3rd loop only, and I'll meet you at the end. So there we're working in that last one for 28 stitches, and then we need to be slip stitching to the top of our first half double crochet. So you can see that's coming along nicely now. Now you will have noticed there were 2 rows of this, so we're going to repeat that row exactly as we have just done. So chain 1 and half double crochet into that 3rd loop only. So we're pushing that front loop and back loop forwards all the way around. So this is the last stitch, and then we'll find that the top of that first half double crochet and slip stitch it together. So there you can see we've got the 2 rows where the front loop and the back loop have been pushed forwards. So now we're up to the bean stitch, which is the purpose for the video. Whoop whoop. Right, okay, so in order to do this, we're chaining 2 just to get the height that we require, and what a bean stitch is effectively worked over 2 stitches. So you'd work the actual bean and then you chain 1 and skip 1. So for the bean stitch, you need to wrap your yarn around your hook, insert it into the stitch, wrap your yarn around and pull it up. So you've got 3 stitches there. Then you wrap your yarn around your hook, insert it into your stitch, wrap your yarn and pull it through. So now we have 5 stitches, and we do that one more time. So wrap your yarn into your stitch, wrap your yarn and pull it through. So now we have 7 stitches on our hook. Literally all we do is wrap our yarn and pull it through all 7 stitches, and then we chain 1 to finish it off. We'll skip the next stitch and we do the same thing into the next stitch. So we wrap our yarn, insert it into the stitch, pull it through, wrap our yarn, and we go through 3 times in total. So now I've got 5 hoops on my hook, so we need to do 1 more to get the 7, wrap it, pull it through, chain 1. So you can see there we're getting this lovely bean stitch. So then we'll skip the next stitch and we'll work into the next stitch. So we've wrapped our yarn around our hook, so we've got two loops on our hook. You insert it into the next stitch you're working, wrap your yarn and pull it through. So you've got your 3 stitches on your hook. Wrap your yarn around your hook again, insert it into that same stitch, wrap your yarn, pull it through. 5 stitches on your hook. Wrap your yarn, insert it into the same stitch, wrap your yarn and pull it through. So now we have our 7 stitches on our hook. Wrap your yarn and pull it through all 7 stitches and chain 1, and then we miss the next stitch, and we do that all the way around. So we should finish with a chain 1 and a skipped stitch, and I'll meet you at the end. So now we're on our last stitch. You can see we've got 3 stitches there, so I've just chained 1. We'll skip the first stitch and we work into the second stitch, and we do our bean stitch. Oops, didn't catch quite right, there we go. And then we'll chain 1, we skip that last one, so then we'll slip stitch into the top of that first bean stitch. There we go. So that's our first row of bean stitches completed. Now we need to do another row of bean stitch. So again, we're going to chain 2 and repeat that row as we just have. So in this first stitch, we're going to bean stitch. So wrap your yarn into the stitch, wrap it and pull it through. So you've got 3 loops on your hook. Wrap it, insert it, wrap your yarn and pull it through. So there's 5, and do that once more. So you've got 7. Wrap your yarn, pull it through all 7, chain 1, and then miss this next stitch. So those chain 1s count as a stitch. So then we need to be working a bean stitch into the next one after we've skipped that stitch. So there's the bean stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch which is on top of the bean, and we're going to work into this stitch here and do our next bean stitch. Oops. And then chain one, and we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. And then this is our last bean stitch. And chain one and slip stitch to the top of the row. So that's our bean stitch section done. So you can see it's really cute, and it's actually really appropriate for a coffee cup holder. So next up, we're going to finish just by doing this top section here. So in order to be able to do the camel stitch, we need a row of half double crochets. So let's chain one, and we're going to half double crochet in the first stitch because this chain one doesn't count, and in every stitch across, including the chain one spaces. So half double crochet every stitch. And slip stitch to the top. Now the next section is we're going to do 2 more rows of camel stitch. So we need to chain one, and remember that doesn't count as a stitch, and we need to half double crochet in the 3rd loop. So we've got our front loop, our back loop, we're going to turn it round and find that 3rd loop, and just work your half double crochet as you would ordinarily. So it should automatically just push out the front loop and the back loop for you, and then subsequent loops are much easier to see because your wool or your yarn is doing the work for you. So we need to be doing that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So that's that row done. You can see we've got the little knit stitch across the top. Now with this one, you can see that I repeated that again, that row again, but it's not in the written pattern to do that. So you can either repeat it so you have a duplicate of what's at the bottom, just to give it that symmetrical look, or much like with the cross stitch one that's coming up, you've got 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. It really doesn't make any difference. They both look very pretty. And then for the final row, we need to crab stitch all the way around. So literally we're just chaining one, and then we'll single crochet crab stitch all the way around the top of this. Crab stitch is a little bit more awkward for those of you that might not have done it before. Sorry, I was just working away there. It's basically a single crochet backwards. So basically you need to go to the stitch to the right, insert your hook, wrap your hook and pull the yarn through. So you've got your 2 hoops on your hook, wrap your yarn around your hook and pull it through, and that creates this ridged texture along the top for you. And this is literally our last row, just to finish it off. It also helps the cosy keep its shape and not stretch too much around the top, especially if you're using a cotton or a yarn that has a lot of give in it, like this one does. And then with that last one, we're literally going to just slip stitch it closed, cut our yarn and fasten it off. And there you have it. Your coffee cup beanie cozy with your bean stitch. So we have done a lot in this video today. We've done the ribbon, we've done the camel stitch, we've done the bean stitch, and we've done the crab stitch. But hopefully you'll think that the whole thing was worth the effort, and it looks really pretty. I'll just pop this one on there, slide it onto the coffee cup, which you can see actually was a Starbucks, one of their travel cups, and it fits there. Lovely. If you do enjoy this video today, please give us the thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, remember to hit that little bell icon, which will tell you exactly when we upload new videos, so it'll notify you of that. You can find us on our blog at sunflowercottagecrochet.com, where we have oodles more patterns, both free and paid, and lots of stitch of the weeks for you. So take care and we'll see you soon. Bye.